Short game wise, yes, I can. Long game wise, no. No, I have not.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
They gotta play the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
No, you're talking the long game.
They're experienced and they played the long game.
Very nice.
Long game is back.
All right, Case, we're back. Take two. There's a lot going on today. They're trying to get you down. The WeWork has got an April Fool's internet situation going on today.
I guess so. Yeah, we're recording on April Fool's. This is our second take. So yeah, we were talking first take about April Fool's and bad company April Fool's Day jokes, and we were talking about how G4 I saw just put out a stiletto heel thing today. But I was making the point that golf is in such a strange place right now, fashion-wise, that a day like today, we're recording on April Fool's Day, you don't know what's a joke and what's real, especially with some Malbon stuff. You were saying something about your company doing something?
Yeah, so I did. My company's called Exit 5, and I put out a thing today, which you said got you, and I just I said I'm going to relaunch as Exit 6, and I'm making it all about AI because basically, like, nothing in tech is interesting to anybody right now unless it's AI. So it was a joke, and some guy DM'd me, and he's like, "Yeah, you call yourself a marketer? You didn't even get the domain. You didn't even get the domain for this launch, moron." And he sent me like that Exit 6 domain was available, and I was like,
He's extorting you?
"Oh, then no, somebody else in the comments is extorting me." But I didn't respond this because you never respond to something like that. I did look it up. I almost bought it last night, but it was like $1,200. There's no way. And for a 1 day thing, but it worked. I got you. I got everybody. I need to go check my golf Instagram after this. I'm so sick of golf content. I'm so sick of golf Instagram. Everything is dumb. It's like the fake dad situations, the fake, my girlfriend, blah blah blah, all that stuff. The boot, like golf is booze and partying. I saw one which 100% fake. There was a post, there was like a bunch of cop cars on the golf course, and the caption was like, two guys were smoking weed on the golf course. There's no chance that happened.
Whoa, can we stop on that for 1 second?
Sure.
Did you look into that? Because I saw this one too.
No, what do you mean? What is looking into it?
I don't have it. Well, I don't have it in front of me. This happened last week. But it was like two like SUV on a fairway, and was it Iowa? Where was it?
Yeah,
it was claiming that?
Idaho, Iowa. Yeah.
So I saw wherever you're talking about, it's probably on Zyre Golf.
Yeah.
I saw like the original post somehow in my feed last week, and someone below was like, "This is like a police charity event in Florida where they instead of like golf carts, they have SUVs, like the police." And I watched it. Like I watched the evolution of fake news, like a fake meme. And then like a day later, it was on Zyre, and people in the comments were like, "There's not fucking palm trees in Iowa. What the hell are you guys talking about?" Wherever they said it was from. So it's a great time for the internet, not just golf, but
or just like so many things give golf such a bad name. Like I send them to Leah all the time. I'm like, "Look at this. This is what people think that golf is. It's like, some guy who's so drunk he can't hit his tee shot, and everyone's like golfing with the boys." And I'm like, that's not what I that's not what I like about golf. I've never liked that about golf. Like, fuck that. No.
Yeah, I'd say like 80% of the recreational golf videos in the world come from people who don't play golf at like charity events, who are just, it's really a drinking event.
Yeah.
Great content, but it's really
anyway. It's April 1st. Is golf like looking to be a thing soon in Massachusetts? Have you heard any rumblings about opening day anywhere?
Yeah, a few weeks away. I mean, it's always a date they put on the calendar, and in the Northeast, I'd say the weather dictates that more than the greenskeepers. But actually, with a buddy of mine, I just booked a simulator next Thursday at a place here in the city to coincide with the opening round of the Masters. So you get the sim and like a picture-in-picture of the Masters. So getting some swings in.
That's exciting.
I don't know when I'll actually get outside, but
next week is the Masters? No, 2 weeks. No, next week. Wow. This week, next Thursday. Wow. What day are you?
You don't have the Masters on your family calendar?
We don't. I thought you were saying you don't have the Masters up in Vermont. Actually, so
Starlink?
2 years ago on the Thursday of the Masters, I got LASIK, and
Interesting. You're
I
supposed
thought
to
it
get a
was
vasectomy that day, not LASIK.
yeah, exactly. And I came home and I was trying to watch. It's like you've like shards of glass. I felt like I have shards of glass in my eyes. It was
Maybe the
awful.
worst, if I had like non-elective, like you need this surgery tomorrow or
Yeah.
else things are going to go scary, and it was the Thursday of the Masters, I'd be like, we got to push this to the weekend or Monday.
Yeah. So that's exciting. I'm glad to hear you getting out there working on the game a little bit.
Let
Gonna
me ask you
watch.
real quick
Yeah.
too on April Fools. Have you ever gotten got? Today you said you didn't get got by any of the brands, but just personally, has anybody ever got you?
No, but I'm nervous now. Like, who's gonna show up at my door because of you?
No, I'm just I think back. My wife got me. We were like 6 months into dating, and I remember I was it was like a Monday. I was at my office and I was getting ready for all these client meetings, and she texted me just like the pregnancy thing, and I remember I packed up my bag. I don't even know where I was gonna go. I just had like an anxiety attack at my
Hold on, she
desk. I was like
texted you the
25 years old,
What does that mean? She texted you the pregnancy thing. She texted you. She said like, Casey,
like a positive pregnancy test.
I'm
We've been
pregnant.
dating for 6 months, I think. Again, I was like at work. I had a full day of like all these client meetings, and I just stared at the picture for like 5 minutes, and then I just started packing up my desk. I don't know where I was going,
What do you mean?
and I was
Wait,
just
what do you mean
I was just
packing up your desk? Like for the
I was just going,
day?
like, I don't even know if I was going home. No, yeah, I was just like, well, I gotta go. I gotta handle it. I gotta
How
figure out
long
what
did she
the
let
rest
it
of my
marinate? How long did she let it go?
probably like 3 minutes, but to me it felt like an hour. And again, like I didn't have a plan to like go home. I was just like, I have to like my work here is done. I need to go start my new life wherever the hell that's gonna be.
So
So that
if
day, that was probably 10 years ago. I put in my calendar every year a reoccurring yearly thing at like 6 a.m. the day of April Fool's Day. Just says like today's April Fool's Day.
don't
Do
get
not
caught slipping,
don't
no
get got.
slipping, no
And then I
slipping.
got got
Don't
by
get
you.
caught. Mine was like lame. I was just like a bit corny business joke. Like Tava
Well,
texting you that she's pregnant. You would have a 12-year-old. Would you have like a 12-year-old right now if that were true?
I don't know if I'd be here, but yeah, there'd be a
A
12-year-old
seventh
around.
grader. You'd have a seventh grader.
Yeah, yeah, probably a terrible golfer. Yeah.
That's amazing. No, I haven't. I'm gonna go check golf. I'll check my golf Instagram. And then you're going to the simulators. It's just like it's a social event. You're not working on any fields or anything. You're just gonna go hit some balls, watch the Masters. I like that. Right?
Yeah, about like 6 weeks away from going down to Pinehurst. So just greasing the tires, greasing the wheels, not tires. Just getting back in the swing of things, literally. But yeah, and just because it was the Masters too, I thought it was cool. Whenever I watch the Masters, it's like that for us in the Northeast here. It's generally we're not playing golf before the Masters.
Yeah.
So that really gets you like you're going, and then you look outside and it's 28 degrees. So
Just real quick. I
got
want to
ahead
do
of
a listener shout out to a buddy of mine, Fred named Edward, and he sent me a text message. He's on his flight yesterday, flying home from Cabot Citrus Farms.
Wow.
Played golf down there. He's a good player, real good player. And he was like, listen to the pod right now. And I said, yeah, make sure you just go to the segment where Janko talks about me hitting bombs and just hit that on repeat. And that's it. Successful. But just want to give him a shout out. That place looked awesome. And by the way, big merch guy now that I've been to one proper golf facility, Pinehurst. Is there a bet? How good is the orange? And then he sent me a picture of a bunch of like the teas. There's like an orange slice. There's a tree. The citrus. It's so good.
I don't know what the connection is, or just people are into socks now, but they keep advertising just socks with the orange on it, and for some reason, I'm like, I gotta get those socks. Like I've never even
What kind
played
of
this golf
socks
course.
though? Like 3/4, like mid socks? Like are they socks that would show? Are you okay with that?
They're not socks I would ever wear in a golf course, but
Okay.
I didn't order them. I want to get ahead of this. I did not order golf socks. We talk a lot about wearing other golf courses
Yeah.
merch. Socks are
Yeah.
a whole different
I do have a
thing.
question. This is somewhat
Yeah.
related to socks. Like now that you mentioned socks, so yes, the
Speaking of socks,
Cabot logo is awesome. What's your perspective on? There's like a trend. It's similar to like the Instagram golf jogger look. There's like a 3/4, those like crew socks, that kind of go like below your calf. like you'd wear with Birkenstocks, or there's like that look that people wear now. They bring them to the golf course. Do you have a certain type of golf sock look that you think is like in or OB? Like if you came out to the golf course with your golf shoes on and like the kind of high white Nike socks with a little roll, is that in or OB?
It's a good question. I have a whole thing going on with socks now, just in general, where it's less of a golf thing; it's more of a generational thing. Like we're working our way out of that. What's the demo? 25 to 36, where everyone kind of is looking for that male audience. I'm finding that I'm on the way out of that. So a lot of stuff doesn't appeal to me. It's like turning on the radio, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I don't know who it's for. I don't get the sock look. I don't get the cool 20-year-old sock look, like the
Okay, this is kind
quarter
of where I
length.
was going. Like this is kind of where I was
I
going
don't
like
get it.
that. And like why is it that everyone tucks? I can't reach my leg that wide, but why do you tuck? Why did everybody tuck the pants? Why did the sweatpants get tucked into the sock? Can you? I don't understand that. Who thinks
I
that
can
looks
tell you right now,
good?
I can't help you with it. I don't know why, but we're gonna get to the. But maybe we should just once a month have like a 23-year-old kid on here. Just ask him all these
No,
Malbon questions. Like,
absolutely
is
not.
it a bit? Is everyone joking with this Malbon stuff, or is it?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. I'm a low sock guy. I guess they call it no
Yes,
show.
that's
And
it.
then
The low. You
I get
got to
home
have
and
the
I have
low.
then I have a blister on my Achilles for a month. But
Dude, that's kind of where I was going with that. There's a particular type of sock that I have to wear when I play golf, because eventually, like if it's an ankle sock but it's just too low by the third hole, like you ever have one of those rounds where like it's gonna be bad when like by the second hole I've already taken my shoe off twice to fix my sock. That's a real
and
problem.
you're like, why is this only happening on the right one? They're the same.
Exactly.
My feet are the same size. The socks are the same length. Why is it just I pull the other one up, I pull this one up? It doesn't happen on that side. I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm with
All
you.
right.
These
Tell me
things have
about
haunted me forever.
did you what did I miss? What did I miss on the PGA Tour this week? Because man, I got this leaderboard up right now. Jäger, Scheffler, Toasty, Detry, Moore, Finau, Skins, Gracerman, Rye, and Horschel. Haven't heard of half of those guys.
Well, I'll tell you what you missed was like clockwork. Another terrible betting loss. I had Scotty. I'm sure you saw the 5-footer he missed for the playoff. We didn't even get into this last week. I had in a big way. I had Wyndham Clark at the Players. That putt that did the 360 on the 18th hole. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that streak continues. I actually thought it was pretty interesting, and I'm continually amazed by like these. Like I was watching Charlie Hoffman well into the first half of the Super Bowl. March Madness stuff on yesterday. I'm still locked into Thomas Dietrich. I don't know. I guess I'm a bad person to ask about like what the state of golf is, because I'm just in whenever I can watch it. But I thought it was pretty compelling. The Scotty stuff is crazy how consistent he is right now. But you're right. It was a great leaderboard for my thing where almost everyone on tour that's not like a top player, I have someone that I confuse them with. Like we talked about before, like the Ryan Moore, Ryan Palmer thing. Yeah. Like I can tell them apart, but when I'm looking at a leaderboard, I'm not thinking face. I don't think who that is. I have this big time with who won yesterday? I'm drawing a blank.
Stefan Jäger.
Yeah, Jäger and Dietrich.
Yeah.
One is from Germany. Yeah. One is from Belgium.
Yeah.
You know how they put like the little flags up?
Yeah, it's like the German. That one of them is like vertical and one of them is horizontal.
I have it ready for you here. I was gonna say, can you tell me which one's which here?
Yes.
So these are two guys that I mess up anyway.
Yeah.
And these are their flags which they show. So I can't tell the difference between either of them, but I thought it was a good finish. Did you watch any of it?
No.
The Scotty stuff? Did
you
even see Scotty miss the 20-inch putt on Saturday?
I saw it on Instagram. He missed a 20-inch putt.
I think it was like 22 or something.
That's tough.
And he lost by 1.
And then he missed a short putt to force a playoff. So is Scotty putting like woes back? Is that what's the narrative? What are people saying?
I didn't watch enough earlier in the week to tell you that. I think first couple of rounds he was pretty good with it. The one on 18 he missed to get into a playoff. I mean, it was like a 6-footer, 5-footer. I wouldn't say it's like when they talk about his putting woes, it's mostly those like right around the hole stuff. I mean, that's pretty close for a pro, but the one he missed on Saturday, which ended his streak of rounds under par, which was almost a record, was like, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet. It was pretty. It's one of these things where he's so consistent, and like from a betting perspective, I think his line was like he was 5-1, which is or 4-1, which is crazy to start a week when you have 107 people in the field. And like if you bet that, you weren't wrong yesterday. Like it's a crazy bet to take with that many people in the field, but you weren't wrong, but you also weren't right. You just need one guy to beat him. So coming to the Masters, I don't know if is a good bet. I'm sure he's going to be like 8-1, 9-1. It's just so hard to win a golf tournament, but I don't know. His putter seems to be turning around a little bit. I don't think it was the story this week. Obviously, that's like a viral kind of clip. The short putt misses, and on 18 that won the tournament for Jäger. But I think he's definitely coming around with it. It's just those are the very visible misses.
Was it good? Was it good to watch though? It was an entertaining finish or no?
Yeah, I think anytime the tournament comes down to like one of the last 2 or 3 shots on the whole course, it's kind of a success. That's how they set it up. So Jäger had a putt to win it. He missed it. Then Scotty had the 5-footer to force playoff. He just missed it. So it was kind of anticlimactic. You like to see people win with a made putt, but it was, for me, it was entertaining. I like that these kind of lower tier events are starting to draw 1 or 2 big guys a week. Like this week for the Valero Texas Open, Rory's playing. He never plays the week before the Masters. So,
well, he's got to do something different. Your boy's got to mix it up in some way. So,
well, those are his 2 things coming out of last year. I think he said he wants to play the week before. He took too much time last year off before, which he's doing.
Yeah.
And then I think that famous story where he got like off the first hole last year and he looked at the scoreboard because he was in the afternoon, and I think it was Brooks was like 7 shots clear of him. And he's like, right away, a minute into the Masters, I'm 7 shots behind. And it fucked with him. So he's like, I'm not looking at any scoreboards round 1 or 2 or whatever.
Oh, he said it. It was on his first hole of the day.
Yeah, it was either his first or something like that. Where I think he bogeyed and he looked at the turn and because he's starting at like 2:00. And if you remember the Masters last year, there was all those weather delays, so people played 2 different golf courses. But yeah, he was 6 or 7 shots clear before he hit like the second hole. And he said mentally, he's just like, I got to catch up all day. And that's really not how, he said he's going to play well. So
yeah, I'd love a big Masters storyline. We don't need a random winner. We need a Rory Masters win. I'd be fine with a Scotty win, or a big name live guy like a Rahm or Brooks winning the Masters. That would be fantastic. Or Patrick.
What about a Wyndham?
Wyndham?
How would you feel about that?
He doesn't
thinking a lot about this.
It doesn't do it for me. Like I get it. Like he's up and coming. He's playing great. I don't know. I don't like it's tough. It's tough to know. It's like it's kind of like going back to like Brooks winning his first major. Like, did it do it for you? It's hard to win when it's the first one. Well, I guess he won the US Open, but when it's early, I like when the storyline builds a little bit more. You're like, okay, I like when the big proven guys come out and win in a major. Not to say that Wyndham is not proven. He just, I don't know. He doesn't. Something about him doesn't have me being like, man, I love that guy. I can't wait to watch him play.
I don't know what it is. I was with you. I've done a 180 on him in the last month or 2. I'm not
because
sure
of full swing. Because of full swing.
I was going to say I'm not sure. I really don't know if that did it for me or not. I think we talked about this a week or 2 ago too. Yeah. Whatever I watched that episode, you've watched that episode, obviously, right?
Yeah, and I here's what's hard for me is and this is totally biased and selfish and whatever, but when I see like a single guy, I have a very hard time. Like my life has just evolved in so many ways, having a family and kids and everything. So like, show me like Malnati winning and he's holding his 4-year-old kid and he picked the yellow ball because of a kid. I'm like, now that's a story. Show me the single guy with all the time in the world. I'm not to take away from anything. It's just a different phase of life we're in now. I have a harder time relating to that. And I do think that's a piece of it for me with Wyndham.
Yeah, it's fair. It's funny. Yeah, that we were talking about last week, the Cam Young quote where he missed or he had that bad finishing hole and lost, and they're like, "Where's your head at?" He's like, "Well, I got a 4-hour ride home with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so that's where I am mentally right
But
now."
isn't that weird?
You're right.
Okay,
I
so
find myself relating more to those people
yeah,
than
you
what you're
can't.
saying.
I can't. I would rather. I don't know why. Maybe this is why, but I'd rather see Cam Young win the Masters than Wyndham Clark. That's kind of like sums up my Wyndham Clark take.
Yeah, I get you. But his just I brought him up because his odds are like way out of whack. He's like almost 30-1, which makes he's been probably the second best player in the world the last year, which doesn't make sense to me. But
Yeah.
I think it's his first time playing Augusta, so hard to
Wait, he
gauge
didn't
that.
play in the Masters last year.
No, I mean the Masters is I think one of the harder ones to get into. I think that seems like it makes sense. Is like the most prestigious, but it's a invitational. It's it's a smaller field that like I think it's probably half the field of the U.S. Open or the British. But he won the Wells Fargo last year, which is his first one, and then he won the U.S. Open. But I think both were after the Masters, so
Yeah, they
he
were.
probably just didn't get in. And I actually I got some inner OBs. This is a good one. I was maybe we can kick off with.
Please.
It has to do with this topic, but there's been in the story between Wyndham and your boy Malnati a few weeks ago, some things coming out where they're both going to play Augusta for the first time next week. Both have had quotes in the last week saying they have had multiple opportunities to go play it over the years, but they both declined because they wanted to wait till they qualified and got the Augusta National Masters invitation. Inner OB on that. You have a chance at playing Augusta. Are you passing that up because you want to do it the hard way? I guess, I don't know if you think you might qualify one day for that. So different for us to answer than them obviously. But I think you get a chance to play that place. You got to play it.
If you're Dave Gerhardt and Casey Ford, yes. I love that. I love that neither of them have. I love that they have not chosen to play that. I think that there's just something to that. I think it speaks to the level of competitor and expectation for themselves. And I feel like, that there's just guys like that, like self-made guys who feel like they have a chip on their shoulder and like, no, I don't want to go play with some rich businessman. I want to play when I get the invite to play because the quality of my game is high. I as they would say, I fuck with that. I think that's great. I love it. Especially for guys that haven't, like, who's Peter Malnati? Like, I love that. The fact that he hasn't, and then he wins, and now he's there. Now it's going to be so much more sweeter. Like, he feels like he got there, right? They don't want the handout. I love that.
That's the thing too, because they're such different cases. Like Clark could have 15 more years to play. I mean, obviously he qualified by winning, but when he had passed on the opportunity, I think it was obviously before he won the U.S. Open in the last few years. But he had he was a big college player. He has a bright future ahead of him. Always did. But like a guy like Malnati, who has been kind of a journeyman, and this could, if he didn't get that win, 2 weeks ago, it could have been one of his last year on tour. Or again, just because you're on tour doesn't mean you qualify for the Masters. He'd never had before. So interesting. A guy towards the end of his career felt that way. It's a complex game, but it's one of those things you would never find that dilemma really in any other sport. I don't think. I mean, you get superstitions of guys like don't want to touch the conference champion trophy to not jinx it. I mean, that kind of superstition exists everywhere, especially pitchers, as you know. But golf is just such a, I don't know. Everyone has their own thing like that. I love it. I think I'm with you. Like as a Masters super fan, it's like hard to hear that. Obviously, I'd be like, you got to go play. But I like that people have those principles, and I don't know. It's cool.
And do you think it's just that he's never played? Do you think he's ever been there, like was a spectator, as a patron? Sorry.
I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if there's I'm not sure.
Like
I would assume.
How would Kevin Garnett answer that question?
What do you mean?
You're
asking my brain to go somewhere that I've never considered.
Sorry. Don't use the words he would act. Don't get canceled. If he was a professional golfer and got an invite to go play, I would assume he would say, "No fucking way, I'm not playing.
Yeah,
I will play there
100%.
yeah." So that's
And
how I see it.
Pierce would say yes. I'm coming for 2 days. That's a perfect encapsulation of those two guys.
Exactly. He would.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let me go next. This is not inner OB, but this is just a question. This is an Ask Casey question. I want you to name. There is somebody that is in the top 10 career money list. Top 10 career money list that I think is a little bit unexpected, and I want to give you a chance to guess at who that might be.
Jim Furyk.
Furyk is 3, and he was not my
I
unexpected
wouldn't
one.
expect him 3. Okay.
How about this? I will read you. I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you 9. I'm going to read you 9. Okay, Tiger, Rory.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Do you know about this? Is Phil on the list?
Phil is not on the list. Did they take him out?
They took him off they don't count him anymore. Isn't that hilarious?
That is
so.
Hilarious.
It's kind of a caveat, but yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And so none of those guys on there. So like Rom's not on this. None of those people are on this list. DJ. Yep. Oh, so petty. Okay. Anyway, the top 10: Tiger, Rory, Furyk, VJ, Adam Scott, Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Beep, and Justin Thomas. Who is Beep?
One more time. Go real quick. Just last names.
Tiger, Rory, Furyk, Singh, Scott, Justin Rose, Spieth, Day, Beep, and Justin Thomas.
I was hoping.
And 11 is Scotty Scheffler, so it's not Scotty either.
Wow, he did it in the last year.
Yeah, it's insane.
2 things. I love. I said last names only. The first thing you said was Tiger, which is perfect because that's
Woods.
He's
it'd be weird if I said Woods.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Elvis.
Yeah, Woods.
I was thinking you didn't say Justin Rose, but I didn't hear him.
I did.
No, I know. That's what I was thinking. You maybe left out. Yeah, I don't know. You stumped me.
Matt Kuchar.
There you go. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of guy I would think.
Exactly.
To me,
Matt
Kuchar and Furyk are the same people, 15 years removed or 10 years removed.
So anyway,
Furyk has won. This Kuchar
never
had a major now.
I was looking at that today. Scotty's insane. All right, you go next. I'll take your inner OB next.
Well, just while we're on the career money list stuff, and I told you at the top that I, from time to time, will confuse Ryan Moore and Ryan Palmer. Look up on that list where those guys are.
All right, hold on. Palmer. Ryan Palmer is number 35. He's made a cool $33.5 million on tour.
Okay, now look up Palmer.
But the tax.
You don't have to go far.
That was Palmer.
Or more.
Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore, 32. He's won 2.
So
wow.
There's 1 slot between the 2 or 2 in the history of golf. The leaderboard.
Yeah, there's
these
3
guys who I
spots. It goes Ryan Moore. Oh, sorry, Kit. It goes Ryan Moore at 32, Justin Leonard 33, Gary Woodland 34, Ryan Palmer 35.
So as of 2 weeks ago, they were consecutive.
That's
just funny. These 2 guys I say confused. They've somehow made the almost to the dollar the same amount, but they're top 40 guys all time. Ryan Moore, Ryan Palmer.
Yes,
the Tiger Woods effect is it's hilarious. Okay, here's a leftover I had from the players. I feel like I've heard people talk about this before, but until you see it, you really can't. It really does something to you.
Oh boy,
are you in or out on? I'm going to specifically say dads wearing golf shoes to professional golf events, because I saw maybe 30 pairs.
Okay. I am
maybe a pair of spikes too.
I think that is the dumbest thing you could ever do. There is a reason why do caddies on the fucking PGA Tour not wear golf shoes? Because they are not the most comfortable and best shoes to walk in. So if you're going to be, I just love that. Some guy's at his house and he's like, all right, yeah, I'm meeting, Chris is picking me up at 9. He's upstairs. He's got the golf shirt, the tucked in shirt, the shorts, the belt, and he's going to throw his FootJoy Premiers on to go to the course. Absolutely not. Golf shoes have gotten much more comfortable. I've been wearing the, shout out to FootJoy. Thank you for sponsoring the show. I've been wearing the FootJoy Hyperflex. They're very comfortable. The best golf shoes I've owned as far as comfort level, but there's no equivalent to being done with golf and taking off your shoes and putting on a running sneaker. That's a complete What a dad move. I love that. Great call out. Is there a dress code, by the way? Like there isn't. Can you wear a t-shirt and gym shorts to a PGA Tour event?
Well, Augusta is a whole different can of worms. It's not a tour event. I think it's pretty much whatever you want. I will say I've been lucky enough to go to a Masters practice round. I used to work a PGA Tour event. I've been to a ton of different ones. I've been to Ryder Cups, U.S. Opens. The Players was one of the more I don't know if it's the right word, but like buttoned up events I've ever been to. It was like it almost felt like a major, and people. It was like it wasn't a big. I didn't see a lot of like the drinking crowds really. There was like a lot of people that looked like they were really super into golf, and then a lot of families. But I didn't see a lot of like the fratty kind of thing. So, and I also, it was the St. Patrick's Day. This is funny, leading back from the April Fool's thing, me being oblivious. I texted my wife after like 3 hours there. I was like, everyone's in green. And she's like, it's St. Patrick's Day. Like, oh yeah, I'm an Irish guy. I probably should have realized that.
With a name like Casey Ford, this guy's no idea. It's St. Patty's Day.
Well, when you're in Florida, you just don't assume anyone's ever heard of Ireland. You're just in a different planet. So yeah,
hey, St. Patty's Day forever. I'm not going to name any names on this podcast, but St. Patty's Day will go down in history as the day that I lost my idol, lost my mentor, somebody that was a mentor to us early in our career. Had a legendary night on a Thursday night and didn't show up for work the next day on a Friday morning, and that was kind of when the tables turned, and rock star employee was no longer, and ever since then, Case, you and I have kind of just, that was our jumping off point. So you never know when your colleague, that was St. Patrick's Day. You never know when your colleague is going to get when your rock star manager is going to get too drunk to show up for work the next day, and you could get that was our Wally Pipp moment. I like to
think. Yeah, we don't have to get into that. Something I learned very early in my career, and again, this wasn't me, but if you were ever going to drink to excess and not show up for work the next day, you have to contact someone about it. You can't just not show up and then not send an email or text someone, because then it becomes like a wellness check situation, and everyone at the office is not mad anymore. They're concerned.
No doubt.
Anyway, shout out. All right, a few more inner OBs I have. This is a quick one. I'm sure you saw it. Happy Gilmore 2 is in production. You in or out on Happy Gilmore 2?
Does nothing for me.
No, I didn't think so.
You?
No, but it's back to kind of what I said about Full Swing last week. Like, I don't think this stuff's not for us anymore. Like, I turn on the radio, it's not for me. I can get mad about like, what is this terrible music? But I'm like, it's not for me. So I'm not even going to try to like it. Like, I don't mean that about Full Swing. I don't like it. Like, I love Full Swing, but there's so many pieces of that have to be, we talked about last week, but for the masses to like, so anyone's spouse or whatever can kind of get into it. So a lot of that is regurgitated stuff, but there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff we like.
The level of golf content that I'm at and I'm interested is like, there's this random YouTube golf instructor who has Ludwig, hitting chip shots, and he's talking about his different stance and setup. That's where I'm at. That's what's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. It's tough to, but I understand that's not a mass. There's no business in that. That's
No, and that would be like a direct to Netflix, whatever.
Yeah. Although I do like some of the stuff Barstool lately has been doing. They've been using that guy. What the heck is his name? Is
Roddy?
No, Rappaport. Dan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They've been using him more in content, and he got like a lesson with the Short Game Chef. That type of stuff is interesting to me. That's good content for me.
And I sent you something from Keith Mitchell last week. Like,
yes, that was great. That
like,
type of stuff is great.
He was talking about using the bounce on a wedge, and like for a guy of I've been playing golf forever, but I've never gotten to the point where I needed to worry about that kind of stuff. Like a focus on the fundamentals before we get there. And it was something he said in the clip that clicked with me, and I sent it to you. I was like, well, this is a professional like dumbing it down a little bit, which is the kind of stuff I like.
You're like the old guy. Yeah, the problem with you, I never chip with I don't chip with the sand wedge. You just pull out the 7-iron, you choke down, and you hit a little bump. That's how you chip a case.
Well, it's funny, like the number one thing I know, like growing up playing with my dad, he would always teach, or like teach is a strong word probably because he was learning it as he was playing with me, but like laying up to a number. And then I see like all of our friends like John Sherman or these guys, like you don't lay, like you get as close to the green as you can on a par 5 and 2 statistically. And like all I've ever learned was like, you're not going 260 over the water. Like hit it 160 to 100 yards, use your 100. It's just funny how, again, like this is such a crazy sport. How many sports, like the philosophies change over the course of 10 years, like 15 years? Like what you did baseball wise 10 years ago, I'm sure for the most part holds up, but I don't know. But like it's baseball's been around for however long, and a lot of the principles are the same. Strategy wise,
I don't know.
especially.
I think I see some of it. I think I actually think a lot of sports have changed. I think a lot of sports have changed now. Like I haven't paid attention to baseball at all. Just not interesting to me. And I happen to go down this dark corner of the internet when I was sick a couple weeks ago on YouTube. And apparently TrackMan is big for baseball and pitching, and it works the same way as it does for golf. And so I'm watching these like two Vanderbilt like stud pitchers, and like the pitching coach is talking about like this guy would throw a pitch and then they're looking at it on TrackMan and they're seeing like the angle that it spun from, and he's telling him like, no, get here more. And my brain exploded because I'm like, oh my God, actually this is just like golf. And you know, you love the NBA, right? The NBA has changed. The NBA has changed a lot. I do think that the thing that's changing, there is so much more data and strategy. Like the rise of data and analytics across all these sports has given way to much more strategy. And so yeah, back in the day it used to be like just lay up there, where it's like actually now these guys, like in John Sherman's book and some other books, they don't even like the 3-wood. Like if you're on a tee and it's like you have driver, 3-wood, or 3-iron, the math would actually say just hit driver, because the variance between the variance on your 3-iron is actually similar to that of driver. And so you're better off taking the chance with the driver and hitting it further. There's so much like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're right too, and I hadn't thought about it too much. Like I was thinking more strategy wise, like how does strategy, like equipment stuff and sports have changed, but how, like what other sport have strategy changed that much from when you're growing up playing? And basketball is a great example. The 3-point line. It's like here's the analytics that showed like like 3 points is worth more than 2, which you would some of these things sound stupid, like John Sherman was talking about, like the first rule when you're in trouble is get out of trouble. Like that's such a easy thing to grasp, and we should all know it, but sometimes we make things more complicated than we need to. I know a guy that
there's a window. Sometimes there's a little window and you're like, I know I should punch out, but like I could hit this little right here, and then it hits the tree, and now I've made 8.
Yeah, you want to be Spieth. You want the 10-minute conversation with the caddy, and then the Spieth thing. What was I gonna say? Real quick, did you see the JB Holmes story from a few weeks ago? This is a good inner OB for you.
No,
I don't know the whole story, but basically, JB Holmes got there were. I'm going to give you a very quick overview, and it's probably not even that factually correct, but there was like a annual kind of sound like high stakes Calcutta tournament going on somewhere, I think in the South. And basically, like halfway through it, some guy was like, "That guy's swing looked like JB Holmes," and then they realized the name that he entered the tournament in was I don't know what JB stands for, but it was like Jonathan, whatever his name is. He just kind of snuck his way into like a member guest kind of tournament. So like they found out like halfway through it, and he's like defending. They won, but he's like they waived the cash prize, but he kept the trophy or something, and he's like. They said it was get your best foursome, and we had the best foursome. So inter OB on a professional golfer using, like if Eldrick something entered, Tiger's not going to be able to do that. But inter OB, I kind of love it. Like if you can sneak into a tournament and no one can, you can get away with it, go for it. He obviously got caught, but
JB Holmes has made $25.8 million in his
$30,000 Calcutta.
Who knows? These guys gamble. You never know how much if he needed the money. I think it's cool. I'm down to go play like undercover, like former PGA Tour player, and go do that to win the money, take the money away from somebody else. That part's kind of lame, but
So he didn't take the money, but
okay.
that's because they got called out.
Oh, because he got called
Who
out.
knows if he would have but his
Yeah.
his quote on Twitter, he said, "I did play under my real name, John Bradley. It was bring your best team, and we had the best team. Period." I don't know. I kind of like it. I can see both
That's
ways.
like
but
that's like Yasser signing up for that pro-am as Andrew
Yeah.
Waterman.
I love that. I love it.
That's great. I got okay. Last one for you. This is less of an inter being more of a question. Does the number that you play on your golf ball matter?
Does it matter?
Like, do you have a preference? Does that matter to you? Like, if you pull out a Titleist 3, will you play that versus a Titleist, an 8?
Doesn't matter to me. If I have the option, I'll go high numbers just because I think more distinguishable. But doesn't really matter to me. You?
It's got to be 4 or below. It's got to be
Really?
a 1, 2,
Why?
3, or 4. Yeah. Because usually those are numbers that you can. Those are numbers you want, like out on the course. Like if you make 4 or better, you're going to be all right. If my ball is an 8, I'm like, man, this ball's got an 8 written all over it.
Well, I like the high unique numbers because especially when I'm playing in like an annual 4-day member guest, my dad, and he hits my ball often, and we have to forfeit a hole. It helps us both. I'm 1 or 2 years away from going to the yellow ball like Peter Malnati.
I love when you find like a Pro V, like you find a Pro V1 that's like a 69, and then the name on it is like Big Tom. It's like that, like that's his thing. That's I only play the 69s. That's his.
1 year for Christmas, I got my dad a 12-pack of or whatever, a case of Pro V1s, but custom. I had his friend's name written on them. So everyone they'd find him and return the ball to his friend, and then he'd give it back to my dad. So he got the balls back, but without the public shaming. Not a bad idea. I got one more for you.
Sure.
This is more of a personal one I've had. Just want your take on this. I think it explains me pretty well. I'm 37 years old. I don't know how old I am. I'm 37 years old. My entire life to this day, I tie my shoes bunny ear style. Are you in or OB on that, Dave? Now, listen, my parents were like, okay, now you know that. I'm gonna teach you the other way. And I was like, I'm good. They're like, no, this is the way you do it. I'm like, I know how to tie my shoes. I don't need another way to learn. I know how to do it. Never, like growing up playing hockey, I'm like tying my skates bunny ear style. My whole life, I couldn't tie my shoes the way you tie your shoes if you gave me $1 million right now. Not because I can't. Yes, because I can't. I've never tried. I learned the way I learned, and I was like, why do I need a second way? Stuck to it. Can you assess that from like a psychological?
No, I have no problem with it because I never learned how to hold a pencil the right way.
Interesting.
And I hold the pencil or a pen like a complete psychopath, but it works.
Like one of these like 2-finger things.
This is how I hold it.
Yeah, when you see it wrong, it's what it looks like. And again, I'm not passing judgment because I tie my shoes like a
So I mean, meanwhile, like my daughter's learned how to write, and she's like, got the perfect. I can't even do it. I tried, and so no, I completely understand it. You accomplished the mission of learning how to do it, and you just have stuck with that. Doesn't make any sense. I'm a big efficiency guy. It seems like it's working. It's never gotten you in a bad position. You're like, oh no, I tripped and I sprained my ankle because I used bunny. It doesn't matter. So you're good.
It's all aesthetics. People watching me laugh. I mean, in the rare.
Yeah. So do you have a thing about it? You're like,
I'll run into the stall.
Like, you're like a party and your shoes untied. You're like, I'll be right back. And you got to go in the other room. And
I took up men's league hockey when I was like 30. I'm in a room of like off-duty firefighters. Like, is that kid fucking tying his shoes bunny ears? Yeah. But I'm sure there's reasons, but tell me why one's better than, like, why is there a level to that? I'm sure bunny ears is easier, but is what would you even call the adult? I don't want to call it the adult way because that's putting myself down, but like what is the advantage to the way most people tie their shoes versus me and my daughter and the rest of her 4-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, look, I just asked ChatGPT and it said no. There's nothing. If your shoe gets tied securely and you're comfortable with it, then it's valid as any other method. There's no fashion police that's going to ticket you for how you tie your laces. In the grand scheme of things, it's more about the end result: shoes that stay on your feet rather than the process. So loop away if that's your style.
Yeah, obviously, like in this world's political climate, everyone loves to call each other like sheep, especially coming out of like vaccine mandates and all this stuff.
Yeah.
This is gonna be my new political thing. Like, oh, you tie your shoe the adult way.
Yeah.
Oh, you sheep.
Well, I guess
just because everyone told you to.
I guess I love that. Yeah, or like which end of the political spectrum would bunny ears? Would that be on the woke
Right in the
end,
middle.
or would it be
We're right in the middle.
Yeah.
We support both sides.
All right, that's a good one to end on. Let us know how you tie your shoes.
Equal loops, Dave, on both sides of the knot.
Equal loops. Yeah, let's bring this country together with bunny ears, one bunny ear at a time. You will be in a proper position to teach your kids how to tie their shoes, though. I think they're going to learn fast.
And
tie your shoes just like Dad.
And then you're on your fucking own.
Send us out of here.
Yeah, there's no better way to end on that. So another family man, friend of the pod. We'll see you next week. And Rory, come on the pod.
He's talking the long game.
They played the long game.
The long game gotta play the long game.
Their experience and they played